Look, like one of the main reasons why you started this Healing REIT is building up the clinical footprint across the U.S. Rumors that the FDA could be approving MDMA within the next 6 to 8 months. I don't know if we'll ever be able to catch up to the demand, knowing that there's as many as 14 million people in the U.S. with PTSD alone. Yeah. But how do we educate and get people on board with this in such a short period of time? TDR back on location in Denver, Colorado at the MAPS Psychedelic Science Conference. Excited for this conversation. Let's welcome our next two guests. Joe Caltabiano, he's the co-founder and former president of Cresco Labs, now chairman of Healing REIT, which is basically a company that's going to build a clinical footprint model across the U.S. pertaining to psychedelics. Good to see you, and thanks for checking in.
Yeah, thank you very much. Excited to be here. It's an incredible opportunity to be part of this and on the show, so thanks for having me.
Exciting to see this conference, the amount of big turnout. Matthew Buckley, he's the host of the podcast, Michael Afterburner. Good to see you, sir.
Good. Max Afterburner.
Max Afterburner, former fighter pilot as well. Good to see you.
Got it, man.
Advisor to the Healing REIT. So
you bet.
Interesting times, to say the least, pertaining to the industry, especially with what we're learning this week, right?
Oh, my God. Well, 5 years ago, there's no way in hell as a former fighter pilot, I thought I'd be in Denver at a psychedelic conference, man. I'd kick my own ass, but here I am, and that's a God moment. It's
5 years changed a lot, right?
Oh my God, man. Yeah, I did the medicine 2 years ago, and I am a completely different human being. So, amazing. Yeah.
Good to see you.
Honored to be here.
Appreciate it. Anthony Farrell, good to see you, sir.
Good to see you as always. It's been a breath of fresh air at this conference. It's good to see life coming back into the sector.
Isn't it?
We started hot, plateaued, and now we're back on the way up.
This is what makes it fun, the people we're meeting, right?
This is great. This is my favorite part of the business.
Yeah. Joe, I want to start with you. Let's learn a little bit of your background. Cresco, nobody needs an introduction to that. One of the big MSOs in cannabis, now pivoting into psychedelics. Do you see a lot of similarities between the two companies? I know there's a lot of difference. We bring that up, but from a pure business aspect, when I say similarities, just the overall potential growth that we could see in the near term. I don't mean a couple years down the road. Like we could see some tremendous growth in the next 6 months to a year pertaining to this industry.
Oh, certainly. I mean, the growth here is exponential. Where this industry is starting from compared to where cannabis is starting from, it's a much more sophisticated, educated person at the show. I flash back to the early days of cannabis, a lot different person at the show here, in a positive way. Okay. Incredibly refined audience for the most part that is searching for wellness. There is a very cohesive approach to wellness. It is, you can see people in lockstep trying to push this medicine forward, trying to go down the medical route, really create some medicines that can help mental health, that can help pain, can help all the different modalities that are needed. And it's really exciting to see the passion, the energy at that show is
12,000 people.
Yeah, it was wild and all energized, compared to some of the recent cannabis conferences where everyone's got their head down. Certainly the financial side has been beat up a little bit in that, and you're seeing some excitement here. And I think you're going to see some real money roll into this industry, create real opportunity on the capital side, as well as do some incredible good on the mental health and wellness side.
Yeah, I assume that you agree with that, Matthew. Done the medicine, changed your life, former fighter pilot. You also run a podcast. You talk a lot about business and finance as well. But to Joe's point, like, how excited are you about the growth of the industry? We've gone through some tough times, but here we are today. And I've been telling my viewers, I think there's tremendous growth. There's going to be a small group of companies that will succeed, but I see immense opportunities on the near-term horizon for those.
Could agree more, man. I'd liken it to 1990 .com bubble, right? Okay. If you invest in a Google or an Amazon, you're rich. If you invested in pets.com or, whatever.
You think that big?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, my God. This is so... Saving and changing lives is just, it's absolutely incredible what we're doing, and the ability to make money off of that as well. I mean, that's creepy to say in the same sentence, but it isn't, right?
Yeah.
If people want to heal and get better, I mean, that's just, it's incredible.
Yeah.
I think that's a big driving force, is people that want to heal. Like, what would you tell somebody that was thinking about or that wanted to have the medicine? That wanted to experience the psychedelic assisted.
The medicine calls to you. It's one of those sentences that before I did the medicine, I would have laughed at. Like, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It calls to you. So if you feel, because it's not easy, right?
Yeah.
First of all, the medicine isn't for everybody, right? You can heal You can meditate, you can do breath work, you can climb to a mountain and walk on the beach. So as a former fighter pilot, and I did the medicine with a couple Navy SEALs at the beginning. Maybe some radical dudes need some radical healing, because I got 30, 40 years of therapy in a weekend, and it changed my life. I lost a sister. We were a Irish Catholic family from South Jersey, South Philadelphia, 6 kids. And my middle sister, Monica, was killed by a drunk driver. Destroyed the family. It was a hand grenade, right? My dad died years later of a broken heart. I couldn't even remember ever seeing him happy again. And on the Ibogaine, I experienced both of them again.
Wow.
They came to me, and they were perfect. And I could not have been happier. And then they started, pixelate's a bad word, but they started to go away. And it was a horror. I started screaming, and then they came back, and it was kind of like we locked eyes, and then they went away again, but then they went into everything.
Wow.
They went into my daughter. They went into the trees. They went into, they're right here. They never left.
Did you need to prime your mind before the experience, or you kind of just needed to go into it as is? And
dude, I treated this, and anybody who's listening or watching, I treated it like a combat mission, man.
Did you really?
We do coaching beforehand. Yeah. I came in with 5 questions for the medicine and also 5 intentions. So there's a lot of pre-flight prep, man. And it's funny because we went to the Mission Within down in San Diego, outside of San Diego, in Mexico. Because you do it in San Diego, it's a felony, right? So let's go an hour south and it's legal.
Bet you that doesn't sit well.
Yeah, it makes me furious. Why don't we heal our heroes at home, right?
Right.
But they have here's why I bring it up, because they have a manual, because I'm a fighter, I need to read the manual. So I'd read a page or two, and I'm like, all right, I kind of get this. And then there's a paragraph that says, nothing can prepare you for what you're about to experience. I'm like, oh shit, now I'm scared. Another 2 pages of reading, I'm like, all right, I feel better. Another one of those paragraphs. But it made sense, because it kind of gave me some intel, but there's nothing there's no way I could have prepared.
I mean, but do you not think that's true in like a live mission? Like the preparations, like you're prepared, but you never know what's happening.
Bro, as a fighter pilot, before I flew combat sorties over Iraq, man, we tried to think of everything. We'd even do a red team process, right? Because if the 4 of us were planning a mission, after we got done planning, we'd probably go like, hey, we're brilliant. This isn't going to fail. That's when you die.
Yeah.
We'd go grab another 3 or 4 buddies that weren't part of this mission planning, but they know what's going on. I'd brief them on it and say, all right, guys, what do you got? And they're like, shh, and they'd rip it to shreds.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because if you don't red team your plan, who's going to do it for you? Yeah. Fucking enemy's going to do it, and they'll do it gladly. So yeah, I treat the medicine work as a deadly serious mission, and it had good results.
Wow.
Which is so different than, the pharmacological way that people deal with mental health, right? It's a Band-Aid on it. You never really fix the problem.
Correct.
So the more I hear about this space, the more people are really dealing with the issue, healing the issue, truly becoming better on the inside, not just putting a Band-Aid over another Band-Aid over another Band-Aid, and then constantly just changing out the Band-Aid because that one got old, right? And it's a new drug and it's a new thing. And, you visualize how mental health is treated in this country, and it sucks, and there is no good approach. And not that this is a one size fits all thing either.
No.
And, but having this tool in your tool chest to help people, it's limitless potential.
Yeah. I mean, big Pharma's not cutting it. I mean, no,
it just doesn't work.
No. I mean,
nor do they care.
My dad
it's just about
bipolar
the
depression.
Yeah.
And I watched for 2 years the psychiatrist go, this doesn't work. Okay, we're going to do this. Then we're going to stack this with this, increase this.
With zero compassion.
And nothing worked.
Right.
At one point I was like, you're a medical doctor. Like, you really cannot figure out what is going on.
That's why they call it practicing medicine, right?
It was getting worse.
And they don't know.
No.
But they also have zero compassion. So as you're dealing with this, it's people like Whiz who've gone through this. So you have somebody guiding you on this journey and preparing you for, opening up and doing all these things. Whereas you go into a psychiatrist's office, it's just about getting you that drug at that moment. And then the insurance reimbursement and the machine, right? And it's disgusting.
Yeah. And then,
we've seen a big crowd this week, a lot of practitioners, and the healthcare system has always been like one protocol fits all. And that's not the case with psychedelics whatsoever. how do you change that? You know, if you're trying to educate, because we all know, like, look, like one of the main reasons why you started this Healing REIT is building up the clinical footprint across the U.S. You know, rumors that the FDA could be approving MDMA within the next 6 to 8 months. I don't know if we'll ever be able to catch up to the demand, knowing that there's as many as 14 million people in the U.S. with PTSD alone. Yeah. But, you know, how do we educate and get people on board with this in such a short period of time?
Well, I think one of the things, unlike cannabis, right, is you do have research. You do have real studies that have been done or being done. You know, doctors want to read, much like you know, with the manual. There's a lot more materials for them to see and research. So, you know, they can start to educate themselves in a manner that they're accustomed to. Okay. Unlike cannabis, that really didn't exist.
True.
So there's, you know, I think that's why you see more clinicians coming to this, because there is more research being done. They are tracking. Ketamine's been around for a long time. Some of the different therapies have been around. And then certainly you look at, you know, some of the other medicines, you know, there's
so they're coming in with an open mind, you're saying?
Much more open mind, much more open mind, you know, and again, I think the level of intellect that is involved in this industry is wildly superior to cannabis, right? You got to flash back to when cannabis started to get momentum. It was an attack on pain doctors because of the opiate crisis. Mm-hmm. So they were looking for an alternative, just grabbing at anything out there. And cannabis was an easy one. Right. And, you know, not to knock the pain doctors, but I would take a neurologist's education over a pain doctor's education any step of the way.
Yeah.
So you have people who are highly educated looking for alternatives, because I think a good neurologist and a good psychiatrist is fed up also with the pharma model, with the current medical system of seeing the same patients and not seeing benefits, where you can walk around this conference and see thousands of people who have truly improved their quality of life in a relatively short period of time. Yeah. You know, you're not reading about the increase in suicides from something like this. So, you know, whereas the pain doctors were dealing with more opiate deaths and things like that. So, you know, I'm excited again to the level of acumen that is coming into this space. I think that helps propel it forward in a much more aggressive and a much more positive manner.
Yeah, when you get Johns Hopkins doing studies and all that.
I didn't see Johns Hopkins they're still not at a cannabis conference.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. You know, you're seeing the level of sophistication is wildly different.
Well, what I see now at this industry, especially being at this event, I've learned a lot from like people like Peyton Nyquist from Numinous, Cody Chandra, obviously, who's associated with you guys. Yeah. Like the American Medical Association approving certain insurance codes. That's going to have a clinical model attached to MDMA if it is approved. So
when?
When? Yeah, I've heard that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. So how do you guys see that expanding and rolling out?
Well, you know, from the Healing REIT standpoint, it's certainly capital, right? All these industries are capital intensive. So if you don't have the capital provide the fuel of an industry, it's very hard for it to be successful.
Right.
So I think, you know, again, learning from previous experiences, if you don't go in with a financial model that works, right, I think you're going to see people recognize that their P&L statement, you know, this isn't a pie in the sky kind of huge forecast. It is a very clinical approach. It's a very strategic approach, and having capital lined up is instrumentally important to the success of this.
And it's a huge threat to big pharma, right? Because one of the SEALs that I did my initial treatment with, he's like, Whiz, I was on 15 meds from the VA, 5 to wake up, 5 for lunch, 5 to go to bed. Hasn't taken anything since, right? Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
How do they get involved in? Big pharma's going to get involved eventually, right?
Well, here's what's interesting. So God is a pretty pretty smart pharmacologist, right? You can't patent a root and you can't trademark a toad, right? So hopefully healing should be free, right? I mean, Immortality Key, Brian Marescu, great book about psychedelics, the Greeks, man. I mean, these medicines, I did Iboga from Gabon, Africa, and I mean, they think it's the tree of knowledge. So the healing's been around for forever. So big pharma's got to either adapt, or they're going to, the couple conferences I've been to, I think they speak with forked tongue, right? So they kind of MF it on one side, and on the other side, they're trying to secret squirrel or build a moat around it. Like, and it's really, because, you know, my Iboga experience, my Ibogaine was 12 to 14 hours, man.
12 to 14 hours.
So big pharma to me is trying to do a little bit of like Starbucks or McDonald's. Like, hey man, you don't got 12 to 14 hours to, how about an hour in between yoga and picking the kids up?
That ain't happening.
So they're going to try and change some of this stuff. And maybe pull some of the sacredness out, in my opinion. But
what do you think of that?
So I'm torn, right? If people want to heal, how can I fault them if they only have an hour to heal, right? But
this is the thing about protocols, right? It's different for every single one, right? So I guess it's
and all the medicines are different too. MDMA is not ibogaine, is not ayahuasca, it's not psilocybin.
That genomics will take it. Genomics will take the sector to the next level if it's personalized medicine, if it's how it actually interacts with your body, because what's going to affect me is not going to affect you exactly the same way at all.
And I think, listen, it's a wellness approach too. It's not, it's different than the big pharma approach. So, everyone's journey is different. I think one of the things that is important and really this tipping point of where this industry's at is there is no right answer. Everyone needs to support all of the different protocols. If you want to go down a pharma route with this and there is a isolate that gets created, great. Do you? If you want to do a microdosing, regimen that you read in a book, great. If that makes you feel better. If you want to go down a deep journey and really heal your wounds and do those things, great. You can't have the warring factions. It has to be a cohesive approach to make this very successful in a condensed period of time. Again, I keep going back to cannabis. It was like the outdoor growers in cannabis in California versus, me sitting in Illinois with indoor grow and high finance. And like that war has they never had a cohesive front.
Size and scale.
I mean, we still get attacked on Twitter. We get attacked on Twitter every day by the California growers.
Seriously?
The outdoor growers. They're like, they think the MSOs are like evil incarnate. I'm like, guys, they're a necessary evil for you.
You
need them. You're not going anywhere without that.
So you need a cohesive front. Hopefully this industry does recognize that. And again, seeing the energy at that place today.
The vibe was just...
And it's very cohesive.
Joe, you must miss like being at Cresco and these 52-week lows they're experiencing right now, right?
Yeah, but why do you want to ruin the mood here? I thought we were having a nice conversation.
You literally just put salt.
I'd like to go there, man.
I mean, with your background though, Joe, you see an institutional capital kind of poke in the space, like at least start to get interesting.
Yeah, and again, why I look at the REIT side first and foremost. It's probably the easiest capital to come across, right? It's yield.
Why is that?
It's not equity, right? So when we started Cresco, we started Propco and Opco. So we had the property company and we had the operating company. The operating company went so fast that I couldn't focus on the Propco, but I secured bank debt in cannabis back in 2014.
Wow.
Right? I was able to get
first to do it. Right?
I mean, 5%, on a 5-year balloon on cannabis facilities in Joliet, Illinois.
Wow.
So you see that the opportunity on the real estate side, you can get real traditional financing to back it. You get conservative, more conservative people who are comfortable. They're just looking for a yield. They're not looking for the 2, 3, 4, 10x return, but there's a lot of money right now that wants yield. So I see the REIT as a great vehicle to fuel this industry right out of the gate, similar to IIPR, how they built, $1.5 billion in AUM very quickly. They got CalPERS to put money into it. They got real pension funds to put money into that. So I see the same opportunity here.
Do you?
That gives fuel for the operators to go out and open more clinics, educate, because it's a big lift on them too. So institutional capital, in my opinion, comes in on the real estate side first, which lays the baseline for the fuel of the industry. Then you start getting speculative capital. Then you start getting, the long short funds, and you get some more, aggressive funds that'll get into it. And then you'll see, the problem that cannabis has caused is the retail investor has gotten burned, right? They got their teeth kicked in. So it's going to take time.
Same thing.
But I will tell you at the end of the day, that's a good thing, because you need institutional capital to build support for these industries. So I think, you're going to learn a lot. There's going to be bumps along the way, but I do think that there's an opportunity to get real money to set the baseline and really build good businesses. And I think the underwriting from the real estate side will help weed out who the good companies are and who they're not, because we can't not find good operators.
That's interesting. The money will come into real estate first, you think?
I mean, think about it. Try pitching someone a cap rate versus a 3-phase drug development trial.
Right.
Cap rate is much easier to digest.
How many clinics do we need?
Oh, I don't know. I would kind of defer on that. I thousands, tens of thousands. You look at how many VA hospitals are there, right? And they're underserving that community alone. So if you look at just the veteran side, it's wildly underserved. And then you get into, try to make an appointment with a psychiatrist. They'll tell you they'll see you in 3 months.
Try to make an appointment at the VA.
Right. Yeah. So it's
awful.
It's wildly underserved.
Well, I was going to say I have to be careful, but I really don't. There's other veterans nonprofits that are very careful talking about the VA. It's a fucking shit show, dude. Civil War type of care. And anywhere, depends on what study you look at, anywhere from 22 to 44 veterans kill themselves every day. It's obscene. This is why I love the Healing REIT stuff, because I'm having to take guys and gals down to Costa Rica, down to Mexico. Jesse over at Heroic Hearts, one of my brothers, they go to Peru, they do ayahuasca.
Yep.
We're taking veterans from the United States of America to a foreign country to heal trauma that we incurred here.
Yeah.
So the VA is baby stepping in. There's some psilocybin studies. Congressman,
So this is an initiative you're working out right now?
Oh my God, man. It's here.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah. Well, Congressman Crenshaw, Congressman Luttrell. And it's great to see the Republicans starting to, because the Democrats are already there, right? Yeah. I mean, they've been there for a while. It's the, these are drugs crowd. Governor Perry, he was here today.
Saw him today, yep.
He stole my line, or maybe I stole his. I saw him a year and a half ago in San Diego, and up on stage, he's like, 5 years ago, me running for president, I would have kicked my own ass if I heard me advocating for this. And he's like, that guy's gone. This is the way.
Interesting.
So, at 22 to 44 veterans a day, man, we're going to run out of vets. So I want to take my veterans to this place, right near a VA hospital. So I think when Uncle Sam really starts waking up, the dam's really going to break.
Yeah. It's been great, guys. Fascinating interview, but honestly, I appreciate it. Like, you guys checking in and all the best, but you can really see what excites me about the industry is I was trying to even learn it myself. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know, but the more and more you have the conversations over time, you start to see a pathway to revenue.
Yeah, man.
But most importantly, you start to see what the solutions are for people.
Correct.
And you get 12,000 people showing up. That's a good start, right?
Yeah, especially energized as much as they were.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
You lead with your heart and truth. You can never go wrong.
Yeah.
Period.
Joe, Matthew, Anthony, appreciate the time, gents.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's great.
Yeah, God bless, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
What's up, everyone? So what'd you think of the interview? Are there any more questions you want us to ask that you want to learn more of? Then leave a comment below and let us know what you think. As usual, share this video with your network, smash that like button, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel because we would not be here without you. Thanks for watching, everyone.